Good morning. Today is August 20th, 2024. We're going to be providing advice to men and women on expanding your consciousness during this time period. So there's a reason why I'm outputting so much information. There's a reason why even there was such a response to last night's video discussing the supermoon, the solar flares, what's coming with China and Russia, as again, Russian pundits call for the death of Americans, calling them animals. And I told you for many years this was coming. That war is coming with the East. So we are in a season of intense energy. I'm noticing insomnia. The lights are, the skies at night are lit up. We had a meteor shower recently. There's certain planetary alignments. I'm not an expert on astrology, but I know a lot more about the solar flares than most, and yet I'm not really fully an expert on the sciences of the sun. What I am is someone that is very spiritually, at a soul level, tapped in to the changes, the ebb and flow of the cosmos. So right now I'm actually very, very centered and focused, and very, very calm. And that's why this video is happening, so you can see that side of myself. I'm going to discuss in this Life Coaching 101 video, expanding your consciousness during Supernova season without going mad. And that's the title, but what we're primarily going to focus on. We've already talked about meditation. Again, we're going to talk about why you want to do certain things during this season to expand your consciousness and increase your fitness levels. So I believe we're going to talk a little bit about fitness in this video. I believe in cross-training, although I don't officially read books on it. Many people believe in doing different types of exercises to challenge your body to work harder. And so in this world in which there is a lot of sedentary living, and I fell into it also when I moved to this place, I'm telling you, obesity is a big, big deal here. And there's a lot of reasons why people fall into obesity, but a lot of it has to do with lifestyle and what people are consuming. And it is very depressing to not have, to be honest with you, a partner or a sex partner during this period in which it's summer, in which it's solar maximum, in which the juices are flowing, so to speak. We'll move on from that topic. But we live in an arena where there is a real lack of good-looking women. They're very, very rare to come by. And there are women that look good, or what many of you average men or men that are just regular men that are not public speakers might call screwable or fuckable. But to me, I don't. And find the idea of a MILF, mom I'd like to F, to be sort of mind control, Satanism, when we really should be with younger women. I really like the idea of the 19 to 25 age group. Now, I've really zoned in on that one. Someone conscious that hasn't been with too many, as little sexual activity as possible. Someone that is not a whore. Someone that makes you prove you're a good guy before she even thinks about having sex with you. That's the woman of my dreams. She doesn't have to wear a hijab, but just let it all hang out, going, looky, looky, slap, slap, looky, looky, slap, slap. No. And so, expanding your consciousness during supernova season would be not just allowing yourself to be committing adultery in your mind, to be addicted to masturbation, pornography, but to reel in that behavior if we're still being engaged in it, and to direct your sexuality and your thoughts to healthy things and healthy people. Moving on, exercise. So I spent hours sweating this morning, doing new exercises that I have not done before. And so now we're going to talk about the exercises that I did today that may be assisting me in getting more in the zone, plus feeling the supermoon energy. First of all, I've had a lot of insomnia all week. So I got into the pattern of sleeping 4 hours a day. This is creatine, and I'm drinking this after today's workout. So today's workout consisted of exercise equipment found outside, right? That is free to use outside of a gym that anybody can use at a place where I go walking. Okay, so I changed up my routine. One day I might go to the coffee shop where Christians are known to congregate. Another day I might go to the gym and spend 2 to 3 hours there. Sauna, hot tub, swimming pool. The lack of hearing that I have right now, borderline deaf, is because of some sort of infection from a dirty pool with too much chlorine. So I have some droplets over the counter, and I'm working on remedying that situation. But it caused me to feel a certain amount of stress. in the last 24 hours. For now, I'm quitting real THC and using alternatives that could be compared to a CBD product. Okay? I do not drink alcohol at this time. I have not smoked cigarettes since 2019. And as far as mentioned, hard drugs and acid, it's been very, very long time since I've dealt with anything like that. As far as Molly, I think the last time was 2012, maybe 14. And I think that there was a DMT experience. We could talk about that another time. Maybe later in the video, we'll talk about conscious drug use versus unconscious drug use. Okay. But so far, we're trying to keep it simple. Okay. We're going to talk for a while. So changing up your workout routine from heavy weights to going another day to doing more swimming or sauna, just changing it up, especially if you're not training for a fight. If you're training for mental health and well-being, if you're training to become a writer, if you're training to fight ADHD, if you're training to fight bipolar, or what people label manic, and you just want to calm down, forget the labels, and you want to be centered, then doing as many exercises as possible is important. So we talked about the Tai Chi wheels. I showed you a video once of something called Tai Chi wheels. It looks like this. Now, I was already doing this. Okay, and I'm going to be doing more videos on the circular motion now that I'm feeling that I'm getting faster at it. So I'm doing something called Tai Chi wheels. And basically, it's a metal machine that I discovered in the last few years, and it goes in a circle like this. Okay, and there's two of them. Okay, so I decide, I'm going to go this motion, and then this motion, and then this motion, and then this motion, and then one hand, and then other hand, both motions, and then one hand and move. So this hand isn't connected to the wheel, but this hand's connected to the wheel. I will demonstrate for you on video. I'll have to get a camera person. Would there be possibly a female that's willing to learn basic martial arts that guaranteed a woman can learn, and I am capable of teaching a woman basic deflection, basic strikes, as far as grappling, working with a man, coordinating an escape situation? I want to consult a real martial artist. I may have made an error at giving this YouTube channel to a martial artist who may not approve of me discussing relationships next to martial arts, next to geopolitics. We're talking about China. What I will say is that I'm thinking about a whole new YouTube channel. I don't know if I'm going to invite you to it. It may not be your cup of tea, but it's going to be kind of like a love line, kind of like what I found out when I was 14 about sexuality and began my first experiences with pleasure at age 14 or 15, right around the time of my birthday, I think, right around the time my mom kicked me out. But Loveline was just implanting sexual thoughts, and so was the cable TV with the scrambled pornography that you couldn't see. So it wasn't really educating me about meeting someone, handling feelings, developing discipline at all. So I believe there should be a conscious form of sex ed. And in this time in which kids are going to be exploding with sexuality and sexual assault, and maybe women being baited, young girls, really, not women, to be thinking sexual thoughts at school by boys that are being taught to be aggressive from media that they're watching online, the porn blog's not going to stop that. They know they can Google online how to get around it, and I won't say how, but unfortunately, that's the way that it is. So, like I said during the eclipse season, this is the time to not go to strip clubs if you do those things, to not look at certain websites, to eat in more. What I'm going to be doing, however, is a video in several hours at a restaurant. And I may tell you the name of the restaurant because it's a corporate chain. They have a taco special for $6.50. This is the next point. They've had that taco special for $6.50 where I can replace the refried beans and have black beans, which is a much healthier choice. And so I'm telling my friend about this place, and she's like, oh, no, but, they're not going to have black beans because a lot of Mexican restaurants don't. But there is a subtle shift in consciousness happening now where I've noticed, as I said before, more massage tools being sold, Five Below and other places, rocks, incense, things popping up that weren't popping up before, more of an overt interest in yoga, things of that nature, meditation, spirituality. And these are things that I learned about astrology with the Saturn and Pisces cycle of 2023 to 2026. Google it. has an interest in mysticism, mystics, seers, prophecy, even going off grid and stepping back from the system. All things that I think are wonderful. And we're going to be going through this for the next couple of years. And it is the season of the karmic return. And don't be afraid. Don't fear the reaper. Not all karma is negative karma. So we're in a period of the quickening. And as one person said, I'll protect his privacy, he talked about something called the thing. And we're talking about, archons, entities. And I think this thing got me and this person to fight each other, where we were maybe possessed with, influenced by a certain attitude that the other one was our number one foe or some reason. That's interesting. That's deep. So if we can learn from our mistakes and experiences, then we can go out and teach others. So as for the audiobook, I will be talking more about Surya. Right? I will be talking more about the sun. Bit by bit, and I'll try to do a little less side talk so that you get this information now. The videos were already put out there in 2019, but it's during the Supermoon window that we really need to get it out there where people are breaking up the programming, because the Supermoon influence, for example, we're right now at the 20th of August. You'll be feeling the intensity of this for a couple of days. And you, like I, might notice stuff in the news, guaranteed, emotionalism. And so with this increased solar activity, and we saw the blood red skies today. I did, going out and about for my coffee. And I'm driving, going to get my coffee. And then I look behind me at just red skies. And so we're seeing red skies, aurora borealis in more places on the planet. Someone asked me about a date for the supernova. I don't know if there is a date for the supernova, but it's expected in and around this period. What it is, what's going to happen, I certainly don't think the end of the world is going to be happening, but like with other things, it's just a general assumption. It's a combination of some people becoming more spiritual and then wicked, wicked things that the establishment pulls off that controls at the top down, the devil or the demiurge, this China, Russia, Anglo-Saxon New World Order on the other hand, and then the Eastern Bloc New World Order. There's no real difference, folks. They're running the whole show. Okay, that's why they created this Russia worship for years. They try to warn people about it and help people deprogram from the entities that have been controlling and ruling your world. The time to break free from the programming is now. Can I get an amen? Can I get a like? Please like and share these videos. Please like and share these videos. Please hit the bell and be notified of all new uploads. Please be aware there's multiple channels. You can email me at magicshift333@proton.me. We need to go back to some announcements. I'm going to be very soon, because I feel the calling. I will be reporting on a regular basis. I don't know how much, but it has to be weekly and it has to be soon. We did our first new report recently. We have to talk about World War III without losing our shit, while remaining calm and cool and collected, okay? So how do we do that? What I'm seeing right now is 13-minute reports. We just hit 13 minutes. A 13-minute news report where I line up in advance the news that I'm going to talk about. And sometimes it's easy for me to find the news on the fly and go live, because I don't want to read the news more than once because it's traumatizing. But we have a Russian pundit said Americans are animals, and he's saying to kill us. And I said for years this was coming. That means, ladies, that you as females that have already been marginalized as sex objects in the mainstream, you could be targeted during a collapse when the stuff goes down, American women. This is a very primitive, old world thing that's been with humans for a long time. Alex Jones mimicked, violent Muslims and went, take them, take their, take them, they're weak, take them. And I won't say everything that he's saying word for word, but he's mimicking, right, like the invaders and whatnot. But in reality, that is very much, you see it in Lord of the Rings, where the evil one, where his henchman says to the orcs, they have women and children. And I thought about taking that clip even years ago, 15 years ago, and saying, like, this is what's in the mind of Shaitan, Sauron, El Diablo, the Archons, the devil, the jinn, the evil side. Women and children. Hurt the children, hurt the women. That's what they do to us. That's what they've done to our society. And so when you see me go on the rants that women don't seem to trust men like me that are trying to fight human trafficking, that is from a deeper program of just being afraid in general, not being aware there's human trafficking, but not being aware that their own biology, in my opinion, is very unevolved on a DNA level. It's not upgraded. To upgrade your DNA, which a lot of women have been talking about out of their wazoo for many, many years, you need to be able to love your son. You need to be able to love your sister, your parents, the people around you that are doing good, and not be so absorbed in this cell phone yoga culture of showing that ass and then wondering why people are going, looking at it. Like, I don't think the authentic yoga was yoga pants and cell phones and social media. Just correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that was the original essence of my ancestors. So I don't believe that yoga chicks ever did like me, ever will like me. If they come and they email me, it's just an accident because of some tag that I put out there. There's a lot of people out there that think they're chosen one for some role, but there's nothing on their pages that's saying stop murdering those people. There's nothing about the women that have come across my content yet that truly see the gold within my heart. And that's a problem for us men and women that want to free ourselves from the system. So going back to cross-training, and then I do public speaking, right? And then I do meditation. So, right? So let's talk about that, then we'll talk more about cross-training. Different types of cross-training, trying to become more open sexually and not let the religious programming get to me without being too vocal about certain things. Maybe trying to tone it down a little bit and create my own channel away from your judgment for men and women that are already sexually active that need some counseling and encouragement, not guilt and shame, on maybe evolving their sexuality to being with the one that they want, instead of just going from person to person. Is that what I really wanted? No. But is there something that I could have done when I was younger to avoid going from person to person? Yes. What is that? Well, I could have been less promiscuous myself and could have been more open with the female. And I could have gone in another avenue other than a drink, and then meet someone. And, I don't know if I should have been looking for a woman on the internet outside of the Portland, Oregon area, but that could have been explored. I really don't know. The fact of the matter is, if you're on a spiritual path and you're talking about certain things, you should not be surprised if the woman that you're married to doesn't even want to touch you anymore. And this is what we learned from Sufi realities, that the woman's brain can be turned off by external forces if she's under mind control. This is why if you're a man trying to pick a good woman, if a woman who's always staring at the screens, playing video games and a cell phone, right? Like, you need to understand that that's not healthy. And if you get into a situation where someone's working all the time and everything is about work, let me say this, and this is what I have to learn, being a groveler my whole life because of my mother. Oh, please, 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 please fix me. Please, please. I'm so traumatized. And then 20 years of bitching on the internet. You know what that gets you? Nowhere, and to hell fast. Why is that? So what does it mean to really be a take-charge man without being an asshole? You get in the car and you do the driving once in a while. If they're doing the driving and it's like, hey, put away the cell phone. I know where we're going. Don't turn left. Go straight. This isn't an argument. I'm instructing you. Do you want to trust me or the machine? At some point we have to have these conversations, men and women, with our spouses, the people that we're living with, the people that we're close to. And so I'm learning, I guess, my first relationship experiences through some of the things that I've been through. It may not be a deep committed or marriage per se, but there is somewhat of a relationship going on where I am being schooled about how to live with someone and respect someone, but also assert myself. And then see a balance and see the results. Are we growing closer or drifting apart? Which one is it? Sometimes one day it looks one way, another day it looks another. But now I have a little more experience and a little bit more confidence in what I think is moral and not. That is in line with certain spiritual traditions. But again, the strict no fornication rule, unfortunately, before official marriage leads many kids into bad first-time situations in the back of cars all throughout American history, and some women to be unfortunately raped or molested. And so there needs to be a more evolved way that kids aren't shamed for having feelings that were given to them by the Creator. Many people say we were made in God's image. Sometimes I wonder if they really believe that. You know what I mean? Because sex is about creation. And so we're really on a polluted planet to where the healthy versions of sexuality aren't promoted. And true diversity of genetics, true anti-racism, if you will, is not being expressed by the far left or the far right, or just tolerant middle Americans in either the Democratic Party or the Republicans. This is a very contaminated, racist, like it or not, society that is screwed up, right? And so for me to be considered attractive, actually, to a win in today's society, they can't be under mind control. They can't be on TikTok. They can't be spitting all day on the screen. They need to not be exposed to the female version of pornography, constantly obsessed on dudes that take steroids, that are 6 feet tall, that are Nephilim Anunnaki giants, while thinking that they're humans. Oversized, overgrown monsters that are twice their size. That's not healthy. It's like a woman needs to be separated from the grid, from technology, from cell phones, from all that. It's like they can't handle it. And they have to be returned to nature 6 months a year of just returning to nature, meditation, to have a natural endorphin chemical flow back and forth. So what have I tried to show you in other videos on the other channel? Not on this channel, but on the live channel. Remember, I have multiple channels. I might even go back to the solar flare channel. There's some old girlfriends hanging out on that may not even get updates that I'm over here. 2025 countdown. It's about adjusting yourself to the sun. And we have a whole video of me sitting out in the sun. Probably no likes. Who knows what's going on there? No, there's some likes. But it's a lot for some people to handle. What's going on with this person with his shirt off under the sun? That's just weird. No, your world, goodbye. You're weird, goodbye. You can unsub now. And that's how it is. There's nothing weird about mixing awareness, dating advice, what's coming down the wire, and then telling you that if the grid goes down for those of us in hot areas, some like it hot, yeah, as long as there's air conditioning, then they don't like it hot. Are they prepared to deal? So when you hear about these numbers of 90% are going to die, possibly, when this happens, and we shouldn't freak out over that because so many are evil. Which ones are that going to be? And should we care if we're going to a better place? Hey, let's pause before hoping to survive too long in this hell on earth. And it could come from the nuclear fallout, places like this that are near the plants, otherwise near the plants, near military targets like this, or the people just might die of starvation in Archuleta County or Costia County because they didn't prep and they're, busy messing around and wasting their money on gasoline to stalk somebody, waste their time on the internet to stalk, control somebody, and they didn't take my advice to prep with food and water, so they're just fucked. So it's like people need to have that Zen consciousness to where you can look at the news, prep, get exercise, read books, expand your consciousness, hope for the best, prepare for the worst. So what does that mean, right? You have to prepare for these things to be wiped away. You have to prepare for the day that comes in which you may not be armed. And even men that are armed with guns are terrified of so-and-so coming and taking their daughters, taking their resources. A lot of big white men that have worked in the military and worked in police, they have a lot of fear and have a lot of guns. And I have nothing. They have everything. I have nothing. So I've told them before, many of these people have guns because they're afraid. I don't have a gun because my true protector is Christ. You say that, they think you might be a Terrorist. That's crazy. That's just crazy. I opened up my Facebook account recently. And so I have made it available for people to contact me, that are on my Facebook list. But a lot of them just like to stay on Facebook and that's not evolving your consciousness. So if you've been a person by the name of Accidental Warrior, talk to me for a little while. She probably is working on her own life, in Europe. But for a woman to talk to me who's been watching me for 10 years, and we do this free flow back and forth, I lost the file, probably wasn't meant to be, was healing. I reflect on some things that she said. I said some words that maybe I disagree with some of it because I had authorization to share our file. I just didn't. I just paraphrased. But in the end, some of what she said was okay. Quite a bit of it, in fact. And I would like to talk to her again and make sure that we have the file recorded. We need to talk a little bit more about sexual morality without judging and discussing why we have found ourselves targeted. And if we can talk to someone else with psychic abilities or intuition that may be able to tell us about our blind spots. Hey, this is what I see. You may not like what I have to tell you, but I'm going to tell you here, this is what I see going on with you. Bye-bye now. doesn't mean they're always going to be right. And when they start to open up and see that less conscious side of ourselves, they may not want to talk to us again, or they may not like it if we don't take their advice. Like certain people that I mentioned before that gave me their advice on how they perceived me as I approached certain topics. And they gave me their advice, and other men gave me their advice and said, hey, bro, the stuff that you're talking about, and we're talking about women, it's too much. It's too much to talk about those topics. It's just too much. And so I realize that expanding my consciousness during the supernova season without going mad is learning to be a calmer, nice guy, still be honest, without volunteering too much information about my spirituality or my perspectives at the moment, which it tends to change slightly because I'm seeking to break old programs and really upgrade from where I was. Okay, it is going to be a hot, hot day today. Again, I think that it's an ideal day to get some Mexican food, but I got to wait a little bit longer. Probably should start the day with some eggs. So, Tai Chi wheels, and doing this, and then we talked about the motions and the movements, because there's two of them, and then doing one, and then doing the circular motion in the air while doing the wheel. Okay. This gets the energy going, and then I'm thinking about being in the heart space and allowing my chi to flow outward so greatly to my heart, from my heart, that it makes the family, the Hispanic family, feel comfortable and safe. That are wondering if I'm a witch, what's going on with me, and this weird dude with this energy. Yeah, using a machine that their people bought, that own that park, that maintain that park. And it's like, I'm tapping into that, never seen anybody else even touch that. And they're seeing me open up, and eventually they're like, this is good medicine, what he's throwing out. This is not bad energy. He's not unsafe to our kids. We're drawn to this. And I don't make eye contact and do it, and then walk away. Always try to keep it down to like 15 minutes, ramp up the field of energy, output it, and then shut it down. Next exercise, and I'm going to get a video of this. It's steps, and they go like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, something like that. So being that I can see myself as someone that was a Shaolin monk in a past lifetime, or something like that. I often walked on a log when I lived on Crooked Road in Archuleta County, when I lived off-grid in the Colorado mountains. So I'd walk on a log and do circular motion and practice my spring baton. At that park, I'm walking here, and my body is just naturally doing certain circular motion, Tai Chi-like exercises, like I've done it before. And so it's calibrated to where even if someone's heavyweight, is trying to lose weight, they're not fit, it's a very aerobic, that getting too complicated, and me not having actually studied aerobics. So just being really pumped up from the supermoon and the solar flares and whatever else is going on, and just the sweat just pouring and pouring and pouring. It was quite the rush. And then another exercise is, of course, the dips, because I'm usually just doing the bench now, or the hammer strength, or push-ups, to change it up and do a couple sets, like 5 or 6 sets of just dips. And that's really nothing, but that's just me getting back into the dips. If someone is like in confined or prison or has a dip machine at home, obviously they can do dozens and dozens of dips. One person is always recommending something called burpees, which is another type of exercise that takes a lot of energy, strength, and stamina. And it's basically a full body workout. And then, of course, pull-ups and things like that are recommended for lots of punching power, because you need a lot of strength and endurance in those muscles, in the back muscles, also known as the lats, right here, right? So it's not just chest power and traps and forearm, tricep and bicep. It's the right here, the upper back muscles. Also waist muscles also. Changing things up, going to places where you haven't normally walked, and going walking, and then walking without fear when you walk by people that have fear, that have cell phones. Here comes the teenagers coming at me, what looks like, definitely a female who's not ugly, but I know better to even look in their direction. I want them to feel safe in a world where many men are just going, hey, how you doing? Hey, are you interested in my book? No, seriously, that's just me though. And so I know to look at the sun who's rising and recognize Surya. Hey, Surya. And the Indian guy looked at me with suspicion as I walked by as he's looking at his phone. I go, Surya, Vishnu, as I hold a yoga pose. He knows what I'm saying. A lot of these really super rich Hindus that live with the whites just north of here, just white Hindu, they are very, very like deep into the technology. Like, whoa. They've never even heard of a Vishnu, Brahma, or Shiva. They're just like, what the fuck? Like, it is bizarre. So that's definitely what the evil of this world is doing to blacks, to whites, to different groups. It's removing them from their culture. You know, one thing that I noticed about the Mexican restaurant that I'm going to go to today and hang out in and read my book in is that they have a lot of sun symbolism. I'm going to become a regular every week. I would love to take someone out to eat. It's very affordable. You would not feel obligated to pay me back. But if I was to meet someone special, this place has a really good $7 lunch special on Tuesday. So that's very inexpensive for black beans, rice, and 2 tacos, plus water that may be tap water, but they have a really nice salsa bar that is really, I'm trying to think of the chain Mexican restaurant that I used to go to years ago. But you go to the salsa bar and they've got the onions, the salsa, the cilantro, and they've got mild salsa and hot salsa. Plus sometimes, yes, jalapenos. So you have the little black cups and then you fill the black cups and just sit there and eat. And it is very, very good. Might even get a soda. I'm going to bring the laptop with me. All right. So we talked about the hanging. Now, the other hanging, we talked about the dips. The next is hanging. Hanging from the bar. I talked about this for years. I had sciatica and pulled my sciatic nerve in 2003. Of course, they didn't realize it was sciatica. They thought it was something else. I recognized it to be sciatica and began hanging from a bar with advice from an old friend in Portland, taught me some techniques, but also experienced sciatica in the past, hung from a bar and went bike riding. And that was during a time of intense solar activity. So there's something about the need I feel when the sun is active to find a lover or a good friend, hopefully of the opposite sex, in some cases, that will massage your back muscles and not be thrown off by the sexuality that you may feel. The fact is, I don't know if I should keep talking. I feel like I should be giving you sex advice and just no longer acting like a prude and just going by what I think is spiritually right. I think it's okay for people that are seeing each other to engage in certain touch all over the body, without saying what I'm talking about, to assist them in release without going all the way. Right? So now you heard it here first. I think that oral is fine with the right person if they're not dirty and with 1,000 men or women. Once you start dealing with being dishonest and being with other women and other men, your anatomy is dirty. All right? You heard it here first, or did you? I don't judge people for doing that activity. What I think is not good is adult content and things of certain parts of the body that are for exit only. You know what I'm saying? That's probably one of the most spiritual things I ever heard from Gunnar. And if Gunnar is out there, Mr. Gunnar S., and you are watching these videos and you are spiritual and I was harsh to you, you can email me again, but not if you're the same bad man that you were to me and Mr. Blue Hair. And you know what you did, sir, and you're not apologetic. So you need to understand during this season, we need to shut the door, slam the door, in fact, with fury and anger at the unconscious people in our lives that are going the opposite way, that are pretending to be loving, pretending to be conscious, pretending to be angels when they're anything but. You have to have standards. So from the hanging bar, there's the other hanging bar to where you're hanging this way. And you're stretching the back muscles. So if you don't have someone to massage you, then start stretching your body and doing certain yoga postures. There's a female, I don't know if she wants me to promote her channel. She didn't say not to. You could type in Alicia Stevens, Florida. She has a YouTube channel. I think less than 100 subscribers. Okay, she sent me a nice email. And so maybe I'll look at her channel at some point for some yoga positions to maybe start implementing and then showing you them later. What I'm doing is more of a simple form of yoga. The most important positions, the cat scratch, with a cat stretch, not to be confused with the cat scratch fever. No, no, no. And then the yoga posture. And then opening up the heart and just breathing and getting into the heart. And then taking that energy from the root chakra, not going to blame you for anything you're doing with your root chakra, but to encourage you to not stay locked in the root chakra. And in fact, maybe even by opening up that root chakra by healthy sexual practices with the right person, if you have one. For those of us that don't, we may one day. But for those that have a healthy sex partner, by thinking loving thoughts and having sex during this time, not necessarily having kids or doing something nasty, you can conjure up fuel and energy that can be used to protect you against evil as you go about writing books, making documentary films, things of that nature. I want to talk more about exercise. So we talked about walking to certain areas, breathing in the air and acting without fear and spiritual and appropriately around other people. Okay, especially around teenage girls that A, may be having fear of men, and B, may be feeling sexual and open to a sexual experience with an older man. I say, as men who are actually programmed by the devil of this world to act on impulses, to shut the door on those thoughts, to blow them up in your mind, and to practice the meditations that I taught you on Substack that go on for hours and hours from Mr. Leon, how to look at those images in the mind and to drop a device in the screen of your mind and to eradicate them. Because, like it or not, your body was wired for procreation. And so people throughout the world, especially women that are letting it hang out with booty pink shorts of various ages, the male body, especially when the sun is active, will just automatically be thinking about baby creating behaviors that his body, like it or not, was programmed to do long before, listen carefully now for those of you that just got here, they don't know about human history, long before certain rules and regulations came into being that said that such and such behavior is no bueno. Long before such rules and regulations were brought into being, mankind has done certain things a certain way to continue the human species. Right. And so there came a point in time in human history where the controllers that really run the show said, yeah, that can't happen. But what we do at Epstein's Island behind closed doors in the pastures, that's a different story. So what I'll tell you now is what's right and what's wrong is a very touchy subject. But ultimately, we are entrapped by most sexual thoughts as men. And really, there's a reason why you have to shut it down, and not engage in things that your mind may say, because men and women, especially women who like the giants, which is their version of the program, right? The woman that likes the giant, that's the female equivalent of that perversion program, where her DNA needs to upgrade to where she can be attracted to a man of normal height or short height. And a lot of the women right now, they're not able to make that evolutionary leap. With that, I think we've covered everything for the day. God bless you, and we will talk.